Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So today we're going to work on this little stone here, and it is a really weird one in terms of its color and patterning. So Boulder Opal, fairly hard ironstone. There's a few patches that have me a bit concerned as to whether they're going to be that soft sandy material. We're hoping not, but we'll see when we start cutting into it. And we've got this little kernel of color here. There's a bit of ironstone banding all the way through it, but it might tidy up if we can get through it. And the color behind it is just amazing. So greens, yellows, blues, no red that I can see, but it's got everything else, and as you can see, in really bright fashion. So the piece is a bit of a weird shape at the moment. You can see some of the color coming through the sides. It's looking like it might want to be a little bit of a teardrop, maybe a bit of an uneven teardrop with a bit of a fatter edge on one side and a skinnier, straighter edge on the other. But we'll see. We'll just carve back the edges until we get a nice little shape, and I think that'll remove a lot of this curvature as well. We want the thing to be slightly domed, if not flat at the worst case. And yeah, it should be a pretty good size for another ring, but this one will be a bit more interesting than the last one, I think. And it was the runner-up in the Nick Hoops parcel vote, so we'll see if the runner-up beats the first place winner. It typically does, so fingers crossed for that. But there's only one way to find out, so let's get cutting. Now this was a fun cut. So here we go, 80 grit sintered diamond burr to start with. The piece is fairly rough and rugged, very uneven. That was one of the first things I wanted to tackle, but really it's just bringing in the edges. So really coarse 80 grit, and you're not really doing this very cautiously. I'm starting off fairly gentle there because I'm just testing the strength of the ironstone. But you'll see here, we'll speed up, fumble it at the start, better than at the end having it crack, so it didn't do any damage. You'll see that I rubbed my finger up against it. The 80 grit will actually eat away your finger, so don't do it too often, but I just do it anyway. I do alternate fingers though, because yeah, the finger that you keep using gets pretty sensitive over time. But yeah, really just carving through it as fast as humanly possible. You can see now that I'm applying quite a lot of pressure. You can see how hard my fingers are pushing up against it. The blood's kind of getting pushed out of them. And I really am just pushing it quite hard. We just want to bring in that ironstone right up to the color, or falling just short, because I'm planning for this to be bezel set. But of course, we went at it for, all up it took about 10 minutes, I guess. Maybe a little bit longer, so I cut out 5 minutes there. And you can see I've brought it right in. There's maybe, I don't know, 2 mils of ironstone around the outside, and now I'm actually being careful and checking out how close I'm getting on both sides. And I'm not finalizing the shape, but I am getting the shape kind of to where I want it. I will hit it after this with the 600 grit sintered diamond, just to finalize that shape and take off the edges as per usual before going over to the novas. But yeah, it's coming together, a bit of a odd shaped pear, kind of tilted to the side. The colors are really not being affected much at all at this point. I'm only focusing on the outer edge, and here I'm just starting to keep an eye on what the shape's turning out to be. And if you look really carefully, you can see I've textured across certain areas that I really want to cut down on. Because the shape here is still a little bit boat shaped, it's a bit like a canoe, I'm trying to get rid of both ends and flatten out the entire stone, which I do to a certain point, but I don't get it perfectly flat. And I'm still wondering whether I should take it down further. I just don't want to affect what the stone looks like at the end, which you'll see soon enough. But yeah, just working on the edges, making sure that nothing's going to harm the nova. So you'll see I'm rubbing my index finger up against it quite often when I'm dunking it in water and afterwards. And then you can see there I'm taking off the black texture lines continuing to flatten the stone, making sure the edges are nice. Because if I'm going to set it, I'm going to need some nice setting edges. And yeah, the shape is just about there and the edges are just about there, so 280 grit Nova, we go. There's a quick look at the stone first. It's not looking too different at the moment. It's kept most of its qualities minus the ironstone border, and we're just going to hit the entire surface at this point. The opal had a few little imperfections in it that's the only reason I'm hitting it from the 280 onwards. Otherwise I could, like the previous stone, leave it for a little bit longer. But this one really needed the 280 across the surface, and you'll see at the end that I don't even fully get rid of some of the things that I wanted to. And I'm still undecided on whether I will or not in the future. Just because I don't want to lose any more features, but yeah, it's coming along nicely. Still trying to deal with those pointy ends, the boat shape. And the 280 and 600 are where you've really got to get that sorted out. So you can see here, switching over to the 600, we've got it much more flat. But I'm going to work on it a little bit more with the 600. The 280 Nova won't chip or anything, but it's a little bit rough and leaves some deeper scratches. And I'm just, yeah, working the sides a little bit, working the face. The sides aren't so important. If I'm going to bezel set, it's going to be covered anyway. I haven't touched the back at all because I'll take that in further with the sintered diamonds later on. And you can see here how quickly the 600 even takes away that ironstone. Very quick. And I'm pushing quite hard with this as well on the areas that I want to reduce. You can see there I'm looking at it, it's got that huge curve in it still, so I'm trying to flatten that out a bit more. Making sure to occasionally hit the front. All angles, make sure that you don't miss any of those deep scratches. And yeah, we'll be switching over to the 1200. So 1200 now you're not removing much. If you look at the burr as it comes in here and starts carving away, you're going to see that it doesn't coat itself with the ironstone as quickly. You can see that it is going slightly brown, but nowhere near what the other Nova was doing. And unfortunately, it looks like I got a little bit of water or mud right where the lens of the camera is. So that's what happens when my videos go slightly foggy like this. It's tough to avoid. I wipe down quite often though, whenever it happens and I notice it. But here I'm mainly just focusing on the top. The sides, I really can't affect the sides too much anymore. So just hit the top, and then here we are moving on to the 3000. So you can see the pattern I'm quite happy with. Color I'm quite happy with. So we'll just hit it with the 3000 for a while. You can see that it's already got a nice little pre-polish, and this kind of ironstone after the 3000 can actually take a really nice shine. So I actually stop after this and show you guys what I mean. So we'll talk about that a bit more in a few minutes. And yeah, I'm just hitting the edge just a little bit, but not really. I don't even know why I was doing this. I think it was just so that I could show you that the burr isn't taking off very much at all. Like that pinkish skin tone color burr is not getting coated in ironstone at all when I hit those sides. That's how gentle it is. But yeah, just hit the surface a bit more and then we're done. Well, here we are at the end of another stone. We went through all the Novas and stopped after the 3000 because I want to show you how good a result the 3000 can get on some Boulder Opal. So you can see here, that's the edge. That was hit by 1200 and it started getting a shine. That's when I know that as long as there's not a lot of these soft bits, I can get a really good polish with just a 3000 Nova. I mean, I will still go ahead and go further. This I didn't hit with the Novas much at all, because I'm going to take the back in a little bit anyway, so that's a sintered burr, and you don't really need to polish it. But you can see here the shine that you can get with just the 3000, no cerium oxide, tin oxide, any of the metal oxides, or diamond paste. This is literally just the 3000 Nova. And you can see that the stone's pretty nice. It's got some interesting colour. I wouldn't wear much opal jewellery myself, but this would be a stone that I would consider keeping for myself once I've set it in a ring. So I might actually design a ring that I might wear and keep this on for it, because it's just such a dark and kind of menacing stone. It looks so different from every angle. And it's not got a perfect face on it. If I can get the glare going, you can see here that there's a couple little bits and pieces where there's some more inwards bits and pieces going in. I thought about working on it deeper and deeper, but eventually I got to the point where I didn't want to lose the colour and patterns that I was seeing. So an incredible piece here with just everywhere it was starting to look really nice from a whole range of angles. Some sharp angles, front on, everywhere. So I thought, no, I can't risk changing it too much now. So there's a little bit of a point there you can see, and then a little bit of a gap in the interface between the ironstone and actual precious opal there. So that happens a bit. I mean, you can treat it and get rid of it by basically filling it in, but I don't want to do that either. I like the way it is. Maybe I might do a bit more work on it, I don't know. I'll have to look at it a bit more. But you can see here, it's a fairly nice size. Would make for a very good ring stone. Maybe too big for the pinky finger. I don't know where I would even wear a ring, so we'll just keep this one aside and think about it a bit more, maybe work on it a bit more, but most likely just set it as is. And yeah, make a ring out of it. So, was pretty good. When you can see that the 1200 starts getting you this little bit of shine, except for in the sand spots, they're not ever going to be that great. It's not really sand, it's just a softer kind of ironstone. But when the darker stuff is all over the face, and you can see that it's starting to take a shine, the 3000 will get you a really good result. I would still buff it again with the metal oxide. Most likely the Blacklighter Secret Polish will be hit on this one before it gets set, and the back just taken in a little bit, not too much. I want a fairly chunky piece. But yeah, really menacing, beautiful green, blue. There's some purple and yellow in there as well at times. Just a all-round great stone. No red, unfortunately, but I think it looks great anyway. So that's the end of this one. Was a fair bit of fun. The runner-up in the Nick Hoops parcel. If I bring the winner and we put them side by side, I don't know. I feel like this one does win. So it wasn't the winner's curse. We didn't get a sandshot winner, but I still like the second. I still like the runner-up a bit more, even though I am a fan of the dark blues. I just like the multicolour more. But you guys can have your vote on which one actually came out on top, because this one had a nicer finish on the face of it, unlike this one. So they've got their pros and cons. Shape as well, a little bit different, but yeah. For me, this one wins, hands down. Others might like this one, so by all means have your say, and I will gear up for the next video. So I'll see you guys then.